Human Resources Director Fernando Pino has Kronos for HR, payroll, talent, and time, he's completely crushing it. He even has his own hype song.
Supporting our entire workforce. Everyone has different hours, skill sets, and pay grades. Motivating and engaging our people every step of the way.
Kronos, HR solutions for the modern workforce and the people who support them. Learn more at kronos.com/HR swagger.
I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top, I'm gonna rise up. I'm on the top.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is all sports all the time. Talk football year-round with local sports legend Coach K. From quarterbacking the Pensacola High Tigers to coaching the Buffalo Bills, Coach K's life has been all about the game, the teams, the players, and the coaches. Talk football with Coach K at noon on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and ESPNpensacola.com.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K, and we're getting ready to have a very fun-filled show on today, this Thursday, getting closer to the weekend. We're going to be joined coming up in just a little bit at 12:15 by Gil Brandt to talk about the NFL draft that was last weekend. So we're going to kind of be breaking that down with him. He obviously was the vice president of player personnel for the Dallas Cowboys inside the NFL, so definitely knows a thing or two when it comes to drafting players and picking out players to bring into an NFL program. Coach, let's get it started, though. We've got some news out of Athens. It does look like they are going to acknowledge Coach Dooley there in Georgia by naming the field after him, so it's going to be Dooley Field there at Sanford Stadium.
Well, I think that's a proper gesture, and I'm glad to see it. Vince did an outstanding job there, and if you knew the story behind Vince and how he got the job there, it's absolutely amazing. He was the freshman coach at Auburn when he got the job, and the guy that went there as the athletic director went there from Auburn, and he and Vince Dooley were on the road together scouting the following opponent for Auburn every week, so they spent a lot of time together. So he hired his good buddy Vince Dooley, which turned out to be a great move. But now, in this day and age, you couldn't even begin to hire a freshman coach who had not even had varsity experience in college as the head coach of a college football team. But anyway, just an interesting little tidbit. But Vince Dooley certainly deserves anything and everything he can get from the University of Georgia because he did a great job.
Absolutely, Coach. Could not agree with you more. We've also got some more college news, as looks like in the year 2020 they're going to be adding 3 more bowl games, because that's exactly what we needed to do to college football, was add more bowl games, one of which, Coach, is actually going to be played at the home of the Boston Red Sox, Fenway Park, excuse me.
Well, I hate to hear that. You're right. I mean, that's the last thing we need are more bowl games. We don't have enough college teams. We got to find more college teams somewhere. I guess get them out of the sky or something. I don't know where they're going to find them. I mean, it's down to. It used to be a bowl game was a reward for having a successful season. Now all these bowls are just hoping that enough teams finish 6-6, so that they can have them to a bowl game, which in days gone by, that would certainly not have been a successful season. But anyway, I hate to hear it. I'm like you. I think it's a terrible injustice.
Coach, do you think maybe it's a possibility to where, I know the bowls are a moneymaker for college football, for the TV networks. They make a lot of money off of them, and that's probably why we have as many as we do now. But, Coach, do you think maybe we have so many bowls now as it's almost kind of an incentive from college football to, maybe add a little bit more pressure to have a successful season and get to a bowl game? Because, there are so many now, and yes, we're starting to get into that territory where teams that are 5-7 are there. But, Coach, do you think this is some kind of motivating factor by adding more bowl games, or do you think it's just all about money?
I think it's all about money, pure and simple. No, this is not good. These bowl games are not attended by enough people to, just TV money and giving the teams that are invited the extra time to practice with their people. That's the payoff. Even the money involved to teams is not that much. I don't think some teams that make money, they lose money going to a bowl.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the NFL. We'll take a look at the Denver Broncos with John Elway there. And, Coach, you take a look at this. He's come out and he says they think they found their guy for the future in Drew Lock. Now, obviously, he's swung and missed on a couple of quarterbacks in the past, whether it's, guys like Paxton Lynch or Case Keenum. Just has not worked out for the Denver Broncos. But he feels very confident in the fact that Drew Lock is the guy for the Broncos moving forward. Coach, do you tend to agree with him? Do you think Drew Lock is that guy? We've talked about him before on the show. He's a very talented player. He's got all the skill sets. But do you think he's that guy moving forward for the Denver Broncos that is going to be their next big quarterback that leads them to championships?
Well, I think he's got a better chance than anybody they've brought in there before. And I think he's got a good chance to be that. But we're never going to know until they can play. And that's why it's sometimes there's a sense of urgency from those in control of the football team to see them get out on the field and play so they can make some determination as to personnel needs and wants and whatever. So I think but I think he's got a good chance to be that next quarterback. I really do.
All right, Coach, how about the Pittsburgh Steelers? You take a look at them. Obviously, they're losing Le'Veon Bell. He is now a member of the New York Jets. Coach, you take a look at that running back room. Obviously, if it's got a couple of different running backs in there, and maybe not quite the the caliber of a Le'Veon Bell, but they bring in Benny Snell through the draft. They've got James Conner in the running back room. Coach, do you think we see the Steelers go more so running back by committee to replace Le'Veon Bell this season, or do you think that once we start the season off, there's going to be one guy that stands out above the rest?
Usually one guy will stand out, but I think this is a very good opportunity to go running back by committee. And what you do is you take some of the pressure off one running back so that all the running backs are fresher when you get to playoff time, and late in the season when it counts. So I would think that the tendency here would be to go to more of a running back by committee. And I like the Chanel. I think he's going to be a good back.
All right, Coach. Now, we've got a way too early top 25 for college football. We've also got a way too early power ranking for the NFL for the 2019 season. Coach, just taking a look at this, kind of not going to go through all of it, but taking a look at it, they've got the Saints right there at the number 1 spot over the New England Patriots. Coach, do you feel like the Saints should be that top team heading into the 2019 season? Do you think they're best suited for a run this year?
Well, I think you prefaced it properly. This is much too early.
Right.
But the Saints, if you had to pick one, we're in the process of having to pick one here. I would say it's the Saints could be right up there. They certainly are in the running for that position. I think you got to never lose sight of the Patriots. And a lot of it's going to depend on how these young kids come in and help them in a couple of positions. I think this is the most needy draft that the Patriots have had in a while. And that's why I think there was an outstanding pick with the receiver. I think that's really going to help them. And I think you're going to see some other kids helping there. But I would say the Saints probably at this point, Jordan, would be a good fit for most talented, most ready from an experience standpoint, having the quarterback, the system in place, the players, and the upgrades needed. So, yeah, I could buy that.
All right, Coach, let's bounce back to college football here, and let's take a look at some of the coaches that are around the league. Obviously, you've got guys like Dan Mullen. You've got guys like Ed Orgeron. They're established. We know what we can expect there. Coach, you take a look at Kansas, the situation going on there with Les Miles. Look, I think Les Miles is well aware of the situation he got himself into. But, Coach, what do you see, or maybe I should say, what do you expect to see from Les Miles?
Defense first, run, play great special teams, take chances. He likes to take a lot of chances on special teams in particular. I just don't see how you could expect. I think Kansas has got to be more of an wide open type football team to win, because they do not have the personnel to line up and knock people off the ball and run with the football the way Les Miles would like to do. Now, if he insists on that type offense, maybe he'll make a change, and maybe he'll run a different style offense. If he does, more power to him. But if he sticks with the way he's stuck with in the past, they're going to have a tough time moving the football on anybody, and their defense can't stay on the field with too many people for very long.
Right, Coach. It's definitely going to take him some time there, but a lot of people are kind of in favor of Les Miles being at Kansas. They feel like he's maybe the guy that can at least get them on the right path. Look, he may not get them winning anything within the next couple of years, but he could at least get them moving on the right path. Coach, take a look at this right here. It looks like the Pac-12 is expected to change their scheduling philosophy. And it says they have no plans to change their football scheduling policies, but it looks like maybe they could be changing the way that they schedule other Power 5 non-conference teams by adding 2 Power 5 non-conference opponents to the schedule in each year. So, Coach, again, we're starting to take steps to see less FCS opponents on a schedule, more Power 5 opponents on a team schedule outside of their conference.
Yeah, and I think that's understandable. And you'll continue to see that trend, I think, for quite a while. It's just common sense that if that gives you the best chance to get to the playoffs, then you're gonna take it, and that's what it all boils down to.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have Gil Brandt joining us right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Pros know getting the next job means doing this one right. On time and on budget, Lowe's is here to help by stocking the brands you trust to power through any job, like Hitachi Power Tools, soon to be known as Metabo HPT. Same tools, same warranty, new name. Plus, for 3 days only, save an additional 5% just by using your Lowe's Business Credit account. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Credit offer valid 4/30 through 5/2. Subject to credit approval. Can't be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And Coach, we are now joined by a very special guest, so I will turn it over to you and let you do the introduction.
Yeah, we're not going to take much time, and we've talked about Gil before. Gil Brandt, to me, is the guru of the draft. He really made certain that the draft was almost made for the Dallas Cowboys when Gil was there. He's one of the architects of the Dallas Cowboys when they became America's team. Good friend, and I appreciate you coming on. We'll only keep you for 15 minutes, Gil.
Okay, anytime, and I'll tell you what, I am backed up so bad that you're an exception that I'm doing this.
Well, I appreciate it, my friend, and I'll get right to it. Got to ask you a couple of tough ones, which you probably anticipated. I preface by saying it takes 2 to 3 years to know how a draft really turns out for somebody. But
you are absolutely right.
If you had to pick, if you had to pick right now, who would you say really helped themselves probably most with the draft?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. Right now, I think 32 teams helped themselves. And let me just throw a hypothetical out to you. If you ask me how the Giants fared for year 2019, because you drafted a quarterback that probably won't play until 2020 or 2021. I don't think it's fair to give a team a grade unless you do so like this. Right now, they're not that good. They have the chance to be the best because of Daniel Jones, the quarterback, in 2020 or 21.
Yeah, I understand totally exactly what you're saying, and this is the one time of the year where all 32 teams can leave the draft room, go out to the press, and say we won. So
it's kind of like recruiting. Nobody recruited a bad player in college.
That's right. That's right. What are your thoughts about of interest about Green Bay? And I just thought, Gil, I may be way off. I just thought they really had to go out of their way to help Aaron Rodgers because he loses a slot receiver. He really doesn't have a number two, maybe not a true number one receiver, and tight end questionable. I just wondered how they were going to help him, and the only way I could think of, obviously they need to help shore up that front, but also they needed to get him some speed at the receiver. Somebody could take the top off, and they didn't.
Well, let me say this, Kay. They drafted wide receivers last year, and they did a pretty good job with young wide receivers last year. And they have a kid named Kumaro that was injured that didn't play last year that I think can help them a lot. Is what it is. I liked what they did. I think they drafted a very, very good defensive lineman in Gary from Michigan. I think that Savage, the safety from Maryland, was a real good player. And in the third round, they drafted a guy named Jace Sternberger, I believe, from Texas A&M, and I think he's a really good football player. So I think that initially I like the people that they drafted. I think Gary can step in and play right away. I think Savage can step in and play right away. Jenkins, a center or guard from Mississippi State, is a guy that's going to be a player. And they did a good job signing veteran free agents, which normally under Ted Thompson's regime they never did. So they did a real good job of signing players to help Rodgers, who when you get to be 36 years old, you need all the help you can get.
Yeah, you bet. And they needed to do everything they could there. I had a little question about it, but you're right. They did a good job with in the off season, and I didn't think about last year. Really didn't have a rating on those receivers last year. But also, let me ask you, Gil, what you think about the quarterback group as a whole this year, and where they went. For example, Locke going to Denver in the second round.
Well, I think that Locke from Missouri, a 4-year starter, 3-year captain, I think will help him a lot. He's a big, tall guy. He's almost 6'3" tall. He's really good in the red zone. Is where he is. But let's go back to Green Bay for just a minute. Remember now, last year they drafted Moore, a wide receiver from Missouri. They drafted Valdez Scantling from South Florida, a good receiver, and they drafted St. Brown of Notre Dame. So they have 3 young receivers to go with a guy named Adams, who might be the best receiver in the National Football League right now.
Well, that's true. They've really depended on Adams almost totally during the year last year. Who the teams that didn't have many picks, it's interesting, and there are a lot of New Orleans Saints fans, as you can imagine, Saints fans in this area. They only had 4 or 5 picks. What do you think about their draft? How they did there?
Well, let me first of all say this. Last year they gave Green Bay their draft pick, which would be the 27th, I think, overall in the draft, and they drafted a guy named Marcus Davenport from Texas, San Antonio. Right. And I'll tell you what, Marcus Davenport is a better player than I think anybody they could have found this year at the 27th spot. So it all depends on how he develops. He had 4.5 sacks last year, but this is a guy that was a high school wide receiver, just really learning how to play defensive end and rush the passer is what he is. But if you remember in the Senior Bowl game a year ago when he played there, he played pretty good, picked up a fumble and ran it in for a touchdown. As long as their management is in place, the head coach, who is so good, Mickey Loomis, the general manager, is so good, and as long as they've got that quarterback by the name of I forget. This is how old I'm getting.
Drew Brees, yeah.
Drew Brees, yeah. Excuse me, thank you. As long as they have Drew Brees completing like 72% of his passes, this is going to be a tough team. And they came one bad call away from being in the Super Bowl because it's a call that was obvious, and the league has taken steps so that doesn't happen again. But it's hard to come back. You were a coach in this league for a long time with the Rams and Buffalo. It's hard to come back to the promised land, I'll tell you, because the competitive balance within our league is very good.
You are so right there. It's not something that happens over and over and over again like some of the young kids think it's going to happen. It just doesn't happen that way.
It doesn't happen that way is right.
I'll tell you who I was kind of impressed with. Gil with 49ers. 49ers
I thought they did a great job. I thought in getting Bosa, and then I thought they got 2 wide receivers with their second and third round picks. I thought the South Carolina wide receiver that they got was really a good player. He's also a good return man, is what he is. And then it's kind of an interesting player that they drafted, who was a running back at Tennessee and left Tennessee after gaining 1,400 yards the previous season, left after 7 games, and transferred to Baylor, a guy named Jalen Hurd, Hurd, who's a big, tall guy. So I thought that offensively they helped themselves a lot with Bosa on defense. They set a record for the least amount of interceptions in a season. They only had 2 interceptions in a season. So obviously they have to get better getting pressure on the passer. And then in the 5th round, I believe they drafted a guy named Greenlaw from Arkansas. And he's an undersized linebacker, I should say, but he's a really, really good special teams player. And in the 4th round, they came up with a kicker, another one of those Australian kickers. So I thought that they had a very good draft. And, this was a team that they got Garoppolo. They were expected to do well. Garoppolo got hurt. They didn't do well. No reason why they can't come back and be strong. But I do think they had a really good draft at the top.
I agree with you, and I think they're going to be tough to beat in that division this year, which includes the Rams.
Well, they better be tough to beat because I'll tell you what, there's 2 pretty darn good teams there, Seattle and the Rams.
Yeah, well, I'm including them. I'm saying that I think 49ers could be on the cusp of winning that division. I really do. I think they're a good football team.
Well, you can go to Las Vegas right now and you can get pretty good odds.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, this prognostication is really scientific.
You're an old quarterback coach, head coach, and you know how important a quarterback is to the team. And I think in Seattle they have Wilson, who's very, very, very important. They know how to run the ball, and in L.A. they have Goff, who's a very good quarterback. So it's not like you're playing teams that have chopped liver playing quarterback. I'll tell you that.
Well, I agree. I agree totally with you. But their quarterback is pretty good himself.
Yeah, Garoppolo. I like Garoppolo a lot if he's healthy.
I do too.
But you know what they say: you can't make the club in the tub.
Well, that's true. The thing is,
he's a good quarterback. He's a tough guy. He was a high school linebacker until his senior year in high school, and then went to Eastern Illinois and tore him up there. And Bill Belichick did not want to trade him, but they were forced to, is what it was. And they got a second-round pick for him, and it was a good deal for the 49ers. They won 5 or 6 or 7 straight games at the end of the season in 2017, and they thought they were going to come back strong, and he got hurt there and didn't get a chance to play last year.
Agreed. I think he played very, very well at New England, and then he went out there and didn't flinch. He took it on, took that starting job on, played well. Before I have to let you go, which is very shortly here, I got to ask you about Minnesota's draft. Minnesota and Washington Redskins, if you will.
Well, I think Washington, a little bit rolled the dice on the quarterback. I think that the guy from Ohio State, I think he can be a good quarterback. He does not have good foot speed, is what it is. And our teams, I think we require a quarterback that can move around. Now, he completed 72% of his passes at Ohio State last year. He's a one-year player, but 3 of the wide receivers you have are going to be on NFL rosters next year. So that's something. I think in Montez Sweat, who they drafted about 25 or 30, somewhere in that area, is a good player. I think Terry McLaurin, one of those Ohio State receivers we talked about, is a good player. And then they rolled the dice on a guy named Bryce Love. Bryce Love is a player that had 1,400 yards, 9-yard per average carry in 2017, and then he got hurt last year and didn't do much at all. So I think that they did a good job. I think Minnesota did well. And it all is going to depend on what that quarterback is going to do that they got from Washington last year. But I thought in that Garrett Bradbury, I believe his name is, from North Carolina State, the center, I thought he was a good center. They need help on the offensive line. Irv Smith, who was a player, and I'm sure you remember his dad from Alabama, was a good player. I liked their 4th-round pick, a guy by the name of Drew Samara of Oklahoma, and right through, and the biggest thing is they got that linebacker to stay this year that was going to sign with Minnesota, but they got him to stay, and so that should help their team. I think the fact that they got a new offensive coordinator who's very good, the former head coach of the Denver Broncos, I think it should make their offense better, and they'll run the ball, something that they didn't do last year.
I agree with you, and I think they helped their offensive front. I really do, which they needed help badly.
And they got a young offensive left tackle from Pittsburgh. He's a second-year player, and I think he's going to be a good player. He was a guy that was an athlete that played tight end at Pittsburgh, and they moved. At the University of Pittsburgh, and they moved him to tackle. And playing left tackle is about the 3rd hardest position next to being a quarterback and a pass rushing defensive end.
You're right. Well, Gil, as much as I hate to do it, to live by my word here, I'm going to have to let you go to stay within that 15-minute time
frame. All right,
frame.
I appreciate it, and thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Hey, thank you.
Really
thank
good
you.
With you today, just like you were as a coach.
Thank you, Gil. We appreciate it.
All right, that is Gil Brandt joining us here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. And Coach, you hear him talking there about some of the teams there in the NFL draft, and was going over what exactly was how he felt they did. And you hear him right there talking about some of those teams, and some teams he felt that they did a really good job. Some teams maybe could have done a little bit better, and some teams were right on point with what they were able to bring in. So, Coach, it's always great having a guy like Gil Brandt being able to come on and just kind of give that knowledge from a different perspective, because our listeners hear you and I every day, but to bring in a different perspective is always great.
Well, certainly it is, especially when you get somebody as look, this guy is one of the tops ever in the business. He invented a lot of the procedure now for drafting players. And we're talking about the NFL draft. And we're trying to give our listeners the very best in pre-draft information and post-draft information, because it makes a big difference in how you look at the season coming up. A huge difference. Now, today we had Gil Brandt. We had him on before the draft and after the draft. And tomorrow we're going to have Bill Polian on, maybe the guru of all drafts. So our people are going to hear the very best in post-draft analysis.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Jared has hundreds of gifts you could get Mom this Mother's Day, like a tennis bracelet.
Aww.
Or a diamond necklace.
Thank you, sweetie.
But there's only one that will make her feel like this. With Jared's Diamond Price Match Guarantee, you can finally get Mom the one gift she's always wanted.
Oh, I love you so much.
For you to get engaged. Shop at a Jared store today and dare to be devoted.
We promise to match any price on a loose certified diamond of the same characteristics and quality from any other jewelry retailer as validated by Jared personnel in store. See jared.com/price match for details.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth, you think you can solve any problem by turning your computer off and on.
Hey man, is something wrong with your laptop? Nah, I just need to turn it off and on. It's no problem. It's smoking. Yeah, that just means it needs to reboot.
Truth, it's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
And now it's on fire. Happens all the time. It's all good.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. If you want to be a part of today's show, 850-972-1945. Again, 850-972-1945. Let's just get right back into the show. Obviously, coming right off of that, Gil Brandt joining us there before we went to break, talking a little NFL post-draft. Coach, let's talk now some college football post-spring, because we've got our post-spring early top 25 from Sports Illustrated. We have not yet had an opportunity to talk about this because we've been so wrapped up inside the NFL draft, rightfully so. But, Coach, I figure now is the perfect time to take a look at this and address it. No surprise here, Coach. Obviously, the top 2 teams on this, Clemson at 1, Alabama at 2.
Yeah, couldn't agree with that more. And they're interchangeable there, by the way. Could be Alabama and Clemson, Alabama.
All right, Coach, how about at number 3? You've got the Georgia Bulldogs. Justin Fields transferring doesn't seem to be scaring people off of the Bulldogs because, well, they still have Jake Fromm at the quarterback position, and he is one of the best quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class that'll be coming out in 2020. So, Coach, how do you feel about the Georgia Bulldogs sitting at number 3?
I like it very much. And Fields was never a reason for Georgia being rated well. But anyway, Georgia 3 there is a good, pretty good bet.
Speaking of Justin Fields, the team he went to after transferring from Georgia and more than likely will start for, you've got the Ohio State Buckeyes sitting at 4 for the preseason top 25.
That's a good one. I'm not sure. Ohio State's got a lot of good football players, but look at what they're losing. I mean, they're losing quite a few players. All the receiving core just almost totally. Offensive linemen. Some defensive players, a few defensive players. They're losing a lot, and they've got even though he was the interim head coach, they're going to have a little different style from day one. I think he'll do a great job, but this is going to be tough for them to hold that position. It's going to be tough for them to hold that position right there.
All right, Coach, let's move now to Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, sitting here right behind the Buckeyes at number 5.
Yeah, Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame, and listen, they got their quarterback coming back now. They're getting in the same. They're in the same stratosphere now with Georgia and Alabama. I'm not talking about as a team, as a whole team, but they've got a good quarterback and they've got him coming back. So that means a lot to Notre Dame.
All right, Coach, moving now to number 6, you've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Jalen Hurts expected to be the starting quarterback for them. Coach, it's very unlikely that Oklahoma is going to go 3 straight years with a Heisman Trophy winner and a first-round overall pick in the NFL draft. But Jalen Hurts still a quality quarterback that's going to be able to provide them some plays, especially against those defenses inside the Big 12. Coach, how you feeling about the Oklahoma Sooners sitting at number 6?
A good football team, well coached, a lot of tradition now. And momentum, I don't think they're in the same category with Clemson and Alabama, obviously, and they're going to have to change their offense some. They can't throw the ball around as much as they have the last 2 years. But Hurts, I think the world of him. I think he's a heck of a young man, and I wish him well. But you can bet on one thing now: Oklahoma's going to have a good running game.
Oh, you are absolutely right on that, Coach. Let's move to our next team at number 7. We've got the Michigan Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh hiring Josh Gaddis to be the new offensive coordinator. He's handing him complete offensive control. They're putting an emphasis on speed, especially out in space. Coach, this is a step in the right direction for Michigan on paper, but will it pay off, and do you like the pick of having Michigan right there at number 7?
There's something that doesn't sit just right with bringing in an offensive coordinator from Alabama who may not have been totally appreciated at Alabama. Now, maybe he's better than what we think. Maybe he's not. I don't know. We didn't see enough of him. I think I'm just not sure whether Harbaugh is going to be comfortable with somebody else calling the plays. I don't know how well he knows this guy. That is a big, huge change. I call the plays all my life, as a coach and as a head coach. And I could tell you, turning over the calling of plays is a would be a very difficult situation. You got to know somebody very, very well, number one, and feel good about their philosophy and know that they're going to follow directions on how you want the whole scheme to work. And I don't know how that's going to work. I've got my doubts, is what I'm saying, as to how they, from a coaching standpoint, whether they're going to be totally together.
All right, Coach, moving now to number 8, you've got the Florida Gators. Obviously a team that beat Michigan, the team at number 7 in the Peach Bowl back in late December, early January. Coach, Florida kind of a team on the rise with Dan Mullen now as their head coach. Felipe Franks drastically improving at the quarterback position. Are you good with them being at number 8, or maybe do you think they should have been a little bit lower still?
I like to see that, but I think it's going to be a little tougher for them to reach that level this year. If they get to that point, they will have won. Probably have to win 10 ball games to get there. I don't think they're going to win 10 ball games.
And you take a look at their schedule, Coach. It is a difficult schedule. They started off with Miami. They have their SEC West crossovers are Auburn and LSU. Then they have to play, obviously, Georgia and Jacksonville, Florida State at the end of the year. Missouri and Vanderbilt, never an easy game for the Florida Gators. So we'll see how the second year under Dan Mullen plays out for the Gators there in Gainesville. Coach, all right, number 9, you've got the Texas Longhorns. Some people, myself included, see the Texas Longhorns as a possible playoff contender next year. Are you comfortable with them sitting at number 9?
Yeah, I am. And I would agree with you. I see them that they really, really improved themselves last year, and I think they'll be even better this year. I see them in that position, certainly.
All right, Coach, rounding out the top 10, we've got Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher getting ready for year 2, just like Dan Mullen. And Coach, Texas A&M is a good football team last year. Let's not forget they were within one possession of Clemson, still played Alabama very close and very tight in the first half of that game in Tuscaloosa. They have Alabama coming to College Station, but they do have to go on the road to Clemson. So, Coach, sit there at number 10 for this early preseason poll, Texas A&M at number 10.
I think their schedule is too difficult for them to reach that level right now. You know, when you've got to play the schedule that they play, and that would mean they've got to win 9 or 10 ball games right there. You know, how do you do it? How do you? It means you got to beat Alabama, somebody along the way. They're going to have to beat LSU. I think they've got a pretty tough out-of-conference game as well. So it's going to be difficult for them to reach that plateau. I think they're going to be a well-rated football team and a good football team. I just don't think they'll keep that position in the draft.
All right, Coach.
In the rating.
All right, Coach, how about we move now to number 11? We've got the Oregon Ducks right here. Coach, with Justin Herbert coming back for his senior season, a lot of people like this Oregon Ducks team and expect them to make a big step this upcoming season. Coach, are you feeling the same way about this Oregon Ducks team?
Yeah, from what I know about them, I don't know as much as I do some of the SEC and ACC schools, but they do have an outstanding quarterback coming back. Everything I've heard is that he's the real deal. And he's huge. You know, he's a big guy who can really sling it. I tell you what sounds good to me for him is that he made the decision to go back to school and have that final year.
Right.
I think that's going to help him. I could see Oregon because in the conference they play, I would think they're going to do very, very well, maybe win that conference. If they do, that's going to push them up in maybe even in the top 5 or 6.
All right, Coach, our number 12 team is another Pac-12 team. Washington, the Huskies, they're actually getting ready to start. We talked about Justin Fields, a quarterback that transferred from Georgia to Ohio State, more than likely will be the Buckeye starter this year. Coach Jacob Eason, another quarterback that transferred from Georgia. He headed to Washington. He is going to be more than likely the starter for the Huskies this year. And, Coach, that's a good quality quarterback to have there. He before he got injured was doing some good things with the Georgia Bulldogs, but did have that injury. It opened the door for Jake Fromm, and then it was just Jake Fromm show the rest of the way for the Bulldogs there in Athens. But Coach Jacob Eason, the quarterback at Washington, sitting there at number 12.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback, and Washington's got a good coaching staff, very, very high on their head coach and what they've been able to do there. But I don't see Washington. I think they'll probably be in the top 20. I don't know if they'll be in the top 12.
All right, Coach, we've got LSU coming up next at 13. Coach, they still have Joe Burrow back at quarterback, but they lose defensive stars like Greedy Williams. And now you do have a guy like Derek Stingley that could step up there on the defensive side of the ball. But, Coach, they do have some holes to fill defensively.
Well, they do, but LSU is a good football team, and they're going to be good defensively too. Don't kid yourself. Now, the other thing, too, is so much depends on their quarterback, Joe Burrow. If as he goes, so goes LSU, especially this year. I think if he has a big year, they could be in the hunt. I don't think they'll get there, but I'm saying they could. This is a team you have to watch, and a lot of it's going to depend on Burrow and how well he plays and to what extent he takes them to offensively.
All right, Coach, moving on to our next team inside the top 15. Number 14, we've got Penn State. Obviously, you look at Trace McSorley, he's out. But, you still kind of got questions there all across the board, not just at the quarterback position for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Coach, seeing them sitting there at top 15 at 14, is that a good spot for them?
Doubtful. They lost their running back, too. I like their running back. I thought he was right there with the Alabama backs. I think they're going to have a tough time staying even. I really do. I'm not fond of some of the things they do at Penn State. So I would have to say it's doubtful they're going to stay there.
All right, Coach, and coming in at number 15 to round it all out, our buddy Chad Berlante would be proud. The Central Florida Knights sitting there at that 15 spot. So they remain in the top 15 even after losing to LSU in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, and their schedule. Now, keep in mind their schedule is certainly beneficial for them. They have a quarterback coming back. They did a good job last year coaching those kids. I think it's a good bet they'll stay in the top 15.
All right, Coach, let's just continue to go through here, and we're not going to hit on every team in the top 25, but we'll bounce around to some of the other SEC teams that are ranked. Coach, our next SEC team is actually Auburn. They're coming up at number 19. Big question marks at the quarterback position. Is it going to be Bo Nix? Is it going to be one of the other quarterbacks there on the roster? Coach, Auburn currently sitting preseason 19.
Schedule's too tough. Unrest in the coaching ranks. They don't really know what they're going to be. This is almost like starting all over from an offensive standpoint, and with they don't have a quarterback, so they got to find a quarterback. So I'm a little doubtful. I think Auburn could have a tough year. They've got, my goodness, you got to play Alabama, Georgia, LSU. They pick up Florida this year. I think it's at Florida too.
It is.
Hang on, Auburn. It could be a long year.
All right, Coach. And finally here, they're not in the SEC, but they are in the state of Florida. You've got the Miami Hurricanes sitting at 22, heading into year one with Manny Diaz as their head coach. Tate Martell, the transfer quarterback from Ohio State, expected to be the starter. Coach, how do you see things playing out for the Hurricanes? Again, they do start off August 24th in Orlando against the Florida Gators.
I think it depends on how well they can find the quarterback, and if the transfer is all that they think he's going to be, that could help them. I think it's going to be difficult for them. I don't know whether Miami can sustain a top 20 position. I think they're going to lose. They're going to lose 4 or 5 ball games.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take our final time out of the show. When we come back, we'll wrap things up right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT. I'll get it out eventually. And also streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And Coach, looks like we do have some news in college football from Houston. Finally, you're starting to kind of hear why Dana Holgorsen maybe left a great Power 5 job at West Virginia to go back to the I'm not going to say it was a downgrade of a job, because Houston, if Houston is playing good football, can be a quality football program inside college football. Look, they're not competing for national titles. They're probably not going to make the college football playoff, but they are going to be able – they're a team that could make it into a New Year's Six bowl game if they have a good enough year. And Coach Dana Holgorsen says, look, he's basically heading back to his turf to be himself, and he feels like Houston is home. So Houston is where he feels like he belongs, and turned down what probably would have been, because we've talked about it before, Coach, this West Virginia team they beat Oklahoma. They possibly could have been a college football playoff team. And it's an odd situation to have a coach have a successful year like they had at West Virginia, and then him leave to take a smaller job at a smaller school that is not a Power 5 school.
Yeah, I'm not so sure there's not other news behind the news here, Jordan. Dana being Dana in football is not the healthiest situation, I don't think. He's a little different guy. But I'm like you. I've really got my doubts as to why you would leave West Virginia and go to Houston. They're just two vastly different programs. Houston, give you an example, Houston will be fighting to reach the same level as West Virginia.
No, and you're absolutely right. And look, if West Virginia was going, 6-6, 6-7 every year, maybe you can understand this a little bit easier. But again, like I said, this is a team that if they beat Oklahoma, they're playing for the Big 12 Conference Championship, and could possibly play for a spot in the college football playoffs as well. So this is definitely a head scratcher. But he's with Houston now, and we'll just have to see how things continue to work out there for the Cougars with him as their new head coach. All right, Coach. We wanted to say thank you to our sponsors. We kind of dove right into that story because that's something that caught my eye coming back from the break. Coach, we do want to say thank you to our sponsors, those, of course, being Bob Tyler Toyota, Hill Kelly Dodge, Levin Papantonio Law Firm, Beef O'Brady's, Tom Thumb, Damien's Ice Cream, and Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Always want to say thank you to those people. They're the best, and we hope that you'll patronize them. Now, also keep in mind there are two very big specials on. One at the shooting range out just beyond Car City. If you go out there and tell them that you heard about it here, you can shoot for half price.
And Damien, go to Damien's icecream.com and look at their supply of ice cream. They've got every type of ice cream in the world. And they're a wholesale house. They will sell it to you wholesale. Plus, if you let them know you heard about it here, they'll give you an additional 15% off. Huge. So if you got a big gathering coming up or celebration of any type, make it big time. Get a lot of ice cream.
Absolutely, Coach. And I got to ask you here because I just had a headline catch my eye. It says Reggie Bush might recruit Urban Meyer to coach at USC. Look, as soon as, Urban Meyer kind of stepped down and he started showing up at some USC-related events, this was something that I kind of started picking up on, that could very well be his next destination. LA, gorgeous weather, year-round gorgeous weather too as well. So, it could be a spot that lands him. Coach, what is the likelihood we see Urban Meyer at USC as the head football coach?
I said that the day after he stepped down at Ohio State, his next landing spot will be Southern Cal. Tradition, a ready-made base for recruiting. You just recruit the Los Angeles area, you should win the national championship. And they've just got so much going for them. Great facilities. The whole shooting match, it's tailor-made for Urban Meyer.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all the time we have for on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Talk Football with Coach K on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you have a great Thursday afternoon. Don't forget the Sports Drive with Chad Berlante and myself coming up later on this afternoon at 5 p.m. right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys, again, have a great Thursday afternoon. Stephen A. Smith Show. It's coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Tell your fan friends that you switched to Pensacola's new ESPN, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.